Mr. Joseph Pitts, thank you very much for your time, and we're very honored to be here at the House of Representatives talking about Moldovan issues. First of all, I would like to ask you about the resolution that you have raised up at the House of Representatives to create a Moldovan caucus and to push up reforms. What was your motivation and incentives behind this initiative?
Well, there was a reformist government in Moldova. We wanted to encourage that, their reforms, and we wanted to engage with Moldova and get Moldova more engaged with the West, not just Russia, but, you know, other countries in the West. So we sponsored the resolution. We formed the caucus so that we would have more opportunity to engage and talk, you know, with parliamentarians, officials.
Since 25 years of Moldovan independence, the United States of America has provided our country about $1 billion to push up reforms and build democratic institutions. Do you think this money was worthwhile used, or it could have been done better?
I know Moldova faces a lot of challenges. They face a lot of pressure from Russia, and they have the Transnistria region, which, by the way, Russia has pledged that they would remove the troops and the munitions many years ago, and they should keep that promise. But Russia has pressured Moldova. So Moldova has been under a lot of internal and external pressure and stress. So we encourage the government of Moldova to take action to get rid of corruption, to have more transparency, to have more rule of law, to have more trade. And there have been some efforts at that, but again, as governments come and go and change, administrations change, it takes time. So probably could have been done better, but I'm not here to criticize.
What were your memories in 1988 when you visited the Republic of Moldova? Memories of Iron Curtains at the time, just before the collapse of the Soviet Union?
There's been progress. When I was there in January of 1988, I noticed as we walked on the streets, people would not talk out loud to each other. They would only whisper to each other. And it was very strange. And on every corner, there were men with red armbands monitoring everything that was happening. So the people felt repressed. You know, they felt like, you know, Big Brother was watching everything. And when I met with people, they were very hesitant to speak very much. Now there's a lot more, I think, freedom, more spontaneity, you know, more willingness to try out some new things, not everything just the Soviet way. You know, and so I think there has been some progress. But again, they're under tremendous pressure. Russia has boycotted, for instance, their wine, which is a big product for Moldova, and they try to put these kinds of trade pressures, and even with energy. Moldova needs to expand their markets, not just trade with Russia, but get more partners for their markets, have more sources of energy, so they can have more freedom and opportunities for their people.
What do you think the response of the international organizations and international community should be towards such kind of resistance on selling products on Russian market? Because Moldova wasn't the only case in Eastern Europe.
Well, look at what Russia has done with Ukraine and occupying Crimea and seizing the energy sources in Ukraine. So there is this threat that worries people in Moldova. And Russia, I think, should be sanctioned more severely for the repressive policies that they've adopted. I think the West needs to be more aggressive in sanctioning Mr. Putin and his, key allies.
What changes have you noticed in the last years of Moldovan democratic government, and what do you believe are the biggest constraints to push up reforms? Our country could have done better to integrate European Union and to build democratic institutions, freedom of speech.
Those of us in the West observing would like to see progress made on the issues that you mentioned, the freedom of speech, the rule of law, protection of property rights, and anti-corruption measures, more transparency in the operations of government. So I think we have to continue to advocate and urge our friends there to make progress and identify the good guys and isolate the bad guys, the bad policies, encourage the good policies.
How do you evaluate the, let's say, political situations at this moment, and what can Moldova do further to increase its economic development and free trade agreements? Is there a way that Moldova will be part of the European Union?
I think if they could develop a little more diversity in their energy sector, that would be very healthy for their economy. I know that if they can have an attractive investment climate for companies to look and risk capital, as long as they can make a profit and take profit out, you're not going to get investment without profit. So any kind of system they can pursue to encourage Western investment, I think would be very, very helpful.
In August, we will celebrate Moldovan Independence Day, and I would like to know if you have any message that you would like to send to the citizens of the Republic of Moldova. What should be the agenda, and where do we see our country in 10 years' time?
Well, I would like to see Moldova united. I think the Russians should keep their pledge of removing their troops and the munitions in that region. And if something can be worked out so that they're united, that they crack down on corruption, that they promote trade and market-based reforms, and the rule of law, property rights for companies who invest there. I think that would be healthy. That would be a tremendous thing to see in the next 10 years.
If you would like to quickly respond also about the Transnistrian settlement, this has been quite a big issue on the agenda, political agenda, and the United States of America has been involved into this format. So what do you hope that this resolution may take to? Do you see Transnistria reintegrated, or there will be a time when these two regions will go separately?
Well, when I was in Moldova, I visited Transnistria, and I watched Russian MiGs take off from the air base there. And I would like to see it reintegrated with Moldova, so it's one united nation. Maybe they can make some arrangement, for certain types of local autonomy, but it needs to be a part of Moldova and reintegrated as far as Moldova is concerned. And Russia really should quit trying to expand their influence with military might. you know, I think, you know, for a while things were going much better. And then Mr. Putin has stepped up and tried to intimidate certain areas of the world. My hope is to visit Moldova again when there is more unification and freedom.
Thank you very much for your time, and we invite you to the Republic of Moldova. Hope we will see you again.